and enforcing gender stereotypical uniforms can infringe on learners' dignity. This is one of the key findings by the Eastern Cape SA Human Rights Commission's report. The SAHRC launched an inquiry following a number of complaints regarding claims of over-regulation of learners' appearances and school uniforms in institutions of learning. Now, for more on the findings, I'm joined by Dr Eileen Carter, who is an SAHRC Eastern Cape manager. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. Perhaps let's talk about what concerned you about the scale of complaints you had been receiving before you decided to launch this inquiry.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers. Well, it's been coming for a while. I mean, as South Africans, we would recognize that there has been several news reports and several news cycles that children are being discriminated against allegedly for wearing cultural expressions like the isipandla. We are aware of the Pillay judgment where a nose stud was worn in respect of the Hindu religion. We're aware of cases where non-binary learners were made and forced to wear dresses or an attire that would stereotypically not be aligned to their gender identity. So this has been coming for a while, and we decided that there were enough complaints that we received that we would have to launch a systemic investigation into this respect. So that is why we launched the inquiry and the adjacent investigation into this uniform policies and the apparent over-regulation of appearances.
So as you launched this inquiry, what were some of the challenges that you encountered when you had to break down perhaps the demographics, the kind of atmosphere, the culture, the subcultures, religion, and perceptions around certain aspects of some of these complaints?
So I think what we realized as the Commission is that there's not much in respect from an Afrocentric perspective when we go look for research and precedent in this regard. In fact, it is our assessment that most of uniform policies and precedent has been imported and may not be very relevant to the African context. So for us, having to engage on this level, what we found was even reference that were made in the guidelines from the National Department of Education. Our assessment was that it might not be relevant to South Africans. So for us to almost navigate the relevance of the current discourse and the current landscape in terms of appearances and uniform policies against what is available in this discourse, save for the Pillay judgment, was quite tricky. And also, as you've indicated, there is almost, I would equate it to the corporal punishment judgments and movement, where we say, but things have always been done this way. Why do we want to change it? But we never go and investigate why things have been done this way and the effect of us having adopted these policies. So it was a very interesting journey for us. We included a variety of stakeholders, and we called them to the table to come and testify under oath. That included Eastern Cape Department of Education. It included the independent school sector. It included parents as well as COSAS. So we really wanted to hear what were the true experiences of learners and complainants.
Yeah. So what were some of your key findings and analysis on some of the aspects that you were putting under scrutiny?
So we made very, very direct findings. We found that most school uniform policies were very strict in respect of stereotypical and binary uniforms and trying to force learners into a gender binary that's no longer applicable or necessary if we speak about access to basic education. So we made findings in respect of the right to dignity. For instance, an example would be that girl children are still being told what color of underwear to wear. And we found this to be abhorrent and archaic, because I'm actually asking the question, how would you test the color of a 6 or 7-year-old girl child's underwear? So we are making findings, and you can do a quick just a search online to see how many public and independent schools still have those policies in place. And what we also found, and what is really, really prevalent, is that the hair of African learners are being policed much more on a regular basis than other learners. And our finding on that is that it is abhorrent and that it is discriminatory, and that we are encouraging immediate cease of this practice, and as well as the length of hair. The differentiation between boy children and girl children's hair, we find it to be not really fit in a discourse of access to basic education, and when we speak about equality or gender stereotypes. So those are just a few of the findings that we made. We also said, I think what I must make clear is we're not saying school uniforms must go, but we are saying let's apply the South African context to this. And for instance, we spoke to parents where they needed to iron school shirts, but it's load shedding, and the children are then sent to school and feel, very, very self-conscious. We were speaking to parents where the one parent's son underwent what they call the two-finger test, is that they would put the two fingers on top of his head to measure whether his afro was growing above the two finger. Now, in a country where we come from the pencil test, we say this is absolutely abhorrent. We should abolish it immediately. And those are the recommendations and directives that the Human Rights Commission has now made in this report.
What about the very concerning issue, prescribed underwear for female learners? What sort of recommendation was made around that?
Immediate abolishment. And we are encouraging parents to approach any relevant authority if they feel that any monitoring of that policy has infringed on the rights of their children. You can literally do a Google search now to see what color underwear certain schools make the children to wear. And also, it's not just primary school, it's secondary school as well. So we're really encouraging schools to take the lead, because we will certainly be following up on whether this has been immediately abolished.
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much for weighing in on this, Dr. Eileen Carter, who's an SAHRC Eastern Cape manager there, speaking about some school uniform and appearance policies being abolished, and of course those that can infringe on learners' dignity.